friend is he wrote a short film and he's acting in it too, and he's trying to find a quiet street that they can do a little stunt on. Like, this isn't very busy right here, so this would be perfect, this space. My name is Tony Gapastione, and I am a filmmaker. I've been creating and writing and directing short films and writing plays and sketches and doing video content for some time, but I grew through that while being a pastor on staff with a church in the Silicon Valley area for 20 years. I'm from Illinois, and I was born, raised, went to all the schools, especially college in Illinois and Chicago at North Park University. And when I graduated, I put all my belongings in a car, which wasn't much. It was a bunch of CDs, I think, at that point, and some clothes, and I drove myself out to California. When I first came to Redwood City, it was commonly known as Deadwood City, and there was not much to keep anybody here. And I should have bought a house back then, because I would have been a millionaire by now. But the growth, the beauty, the idea that it still feels very city-like in green and hiking trails and mountains in the middle of the Bay Area with literally, our weather is pretty perfect. I love it. I was a kid who wanted to please other people for sure. I wanted to do good. I was pretty earnest and organized, but my family also went through a lot of divorces. So I felt really broken, and I think my tendency was to keep it together and take care of everybody else. But where I really found myself was within the theater. When I got connected to performing, that's when I felt like there was something for me. Well, it's interesting because my journey deals with becoming a part of the faith community. My faith is really important to me. I'm a follower of Jesus, and that came in my high school years. I got really connected to a great faith community, a church that had an alive group of students, and we would read the Bible and talk about these relevant issues from the Bible to life, and that really impacted me. So I got used to playing Jesus and Joseph. I got used to miming, exorcising demons, and parting the Red Sea, and I was okay with that for a while. And my career path, if you will, really went into the vocation of ministry. So I kind of got drawn away a little bit from the arts, and probably I would say it was there were good intentions that people had to draw me away, because they thought if I got too involved in the arts that might deter my faith. And I bought that. I bought that lie, actually. I started to believe that my giftings for creativity or storytelling or acting and performing could really only be used in a limited context on a Sunday morning or a youth group. It was about 10 years into my vocation where I sensed that there were some shifts going on in the way I thought, in my theology, in how I expressed myself in the world, and my faith, how I used my gifts. What used to be this big bad place like called Hollywood or the entertainment industry, really I blame it on God. God was the one who redirected me and said, wait, this is not the big bad devil over here. In fact, I want you to be in this part of the world, in society. I want you to be creating. I want you to be finding friendship from entertainers, fellow creatives. I know so many of the people who work in our city, so many of the restaurant owners. It feels like we're a little town because of the community that's developed here. The arts are growing a ton. So much creativity going on in the Bay Area. Why not me? Why not stay here and keep collaborating with all the people that don't want to go to LA and make some mark in the Bay Area. But I remember when I went to Sundance Film Festival for the first time, my very first film that I saw was called Upstream Color, and it was by a writer-director named Shane Carruth. And I remember sitting in this theater feeling as if I was in a worship gathering. I felt as if everything that I had prioritized in my life with my faith, with prayer, with music, with image and storytelling and creativity was just like being pulled out of me. And I was like weeping. I almost wanted to fall to my knees, literally, because it felt as if something transcendent, something big was happening in that theater that awoke me to, I can do this. I need to be making movies. I need to be writing. So I would get these opportunities within my job within the church to make and create things, videos, live performance type stuff. When I would get to speak or preach on a Sunday, I'd always try to find ways to bring the stories from the Bible to life. So I was definitely grateful for the flexibility that I had. But there came a point when I started to feel as if I was hitting the ceiling. It was when I was supposed to bring a lot of change, and I had to make some really hard decisions regarding the staff that I was working with, and it was a difficult space. When everything finally came through, like the vision that I cast, which took almost a year to fulfill, I was like, okay, wow, I'm done. I did what I was supposed to do. And then, my job was saying, well, let's look at your future. What's your future going to look like? What do you want to do next? Maybe we should reposition you and give you different responsibilities. And I was like, no, that's not what I want. And I was actually had a great relationship with my supervisor who we just talked like, so what are your dreams? And so as I heard that question, when someone asks you, what are your dreams? You light up, right? Like you talk about these things that just seem so untouchable and so out of reach. And as I was sharing them, they didn't feel out of reach. I thought, why am I not going after these things? And so he said, well, let's talk about it. Like take a week and, see what you think. And I knew within hours, I literally was in my car just crying because I felt this permission and this release from God to go and pursue these dreams. But I didn't know exactly what that was going to look like. And I'm still trying to figure out what that's going to look like. I just knew my 20-year job was done and I had permission to go, and I had fulfilled everything I could possibly do. And actually, I needed to be moved on so that I could grow because I wasn't growing anymore. And this organization needed me to go on so they could become who they were supposed to be. I took a couple months to figure out, were we going to move to LA, or were we going to just kind of plop down and go, we're going to make it. I'm going to throw myself in the production industry, which is what I really want to do. Or should I get a job at a design firm? I threw my resume into a couple jobs in San Francisco. But then it was through some trusted conversations with people who actually really called me, is that what you really want to do? What do you want to do? And when it really came down to it, I want to create my own content. I want to write and direct my own films. I feel my mission in life is to write, direct, produce provocative, life-changing stories and to help other people do the same thing. And so right now I'm throwing myself into this new endeavor. I'm calling it Bravemaker. And when you're trying to put your creativity or make your film or your music or your art or whatever you're trying to do into the world, it requires you facing your fears. I'm like crazy scared, but no good thing comes unless you face those fears. Fear can paralyze you and prevent you from doing it, or what makes you brave is going, nope, I'm going to face those fears and I'm going to go through it. So I'm creating Bravemaker so that I can make my own stuff and help other people do it too. Do a lot of soul searching, do a lot of self-reflection and evaluation. Could I do this? Could I leap? Could I take this risk? What did things look like financially? And once you figure out what you want to do, just look at all the details that need to be met. Get some people to speak into your life. If the fears are so big you feel paralyzed, well, what could you do to start small? My first trip to Sundance was my very first step at going, I'm going to put myself in this world. It took me 2 years from my first trip to Sundance to write and direct my first film. And so, 5 years later, now I'm embarking on making a feature film. So can you start small? Who are the people that you want to be like? Start hanging around them. Who has a job that you want to have? Call them up or message them through LinkedIn and ask if you can shadow them for a day. But start small. I want to work with people who I gel with. There's nothing more that kills the life of a team or an organization or a film production than somebody who's negative, than somebody who bashes every brainstorming session. Like, those people need to be removed. And so that's something that I'll take, is the hiring and firing process and finding the right team of people to work with. Also, just the desire that I have to bring value to the world, not just in creating, content, but I want to value people. And being a pastor on a church staff has taught me so much about the value of people. And we're human beings. We're all these messy, hurt, wounded, excitable people who need to be validated. We need to have face-to-face time. We need to look each other in the eyes and say, I see you. I want people to feel valuable. And that's really what I think I'm going to take from my church world into the film world. Just look around. How much conflict is going on? I mean, there's a good amount of healthy conflict in any organization, especially in organizations that's creating and that's innovating. When you're making prototypes and things, you have to be able to say, this works, this doesn't work, and cool, move on and not take it personally. But if all of a sudden things become personal and there's like personal wounds and there's sarcasm and there's gossip, oh my gosh, gossip in an organization, backstabbing type conversations are the death of an organization. I truly believe that. If you are in a workplace that has so much tension that you are going home feeling like your whole value in your being is shut down, get out. That is not a good place for you to be. If you're not passionate about your work, if you're just punching the card and checking the boxes, that's not good for anybody. Not good for your organization, but especially not good for you. I'm not saying you won't be tired. I'm always tired. I have 3 kids, and I love my work, and I get tired by doing my work. But there's a difference between a good tired and an exhausting, negative, bad tired. My wife and I are working through all of the unknowns through counseling. It's been super helpful. We can't, because we are so uniquely different. That's why I love her so much. That's why I was drawn to her, right? Because she's so different than I am. It's probably why she was drawn to me. And again, if it wasn't for her, I might have thrown in the towel and really burnt bridges potentially and not provided for my family well if it wasn't for her wisdom and logic. We're writing out plans. I'm trying to communicate all the dreams that are in my head and how I'm going to reach them by setting out timelines. Many of them are financial. What do I have to pull in? How are we going to deal with the insurance? And so that has been really helpful for her. Of course, I want to be a stable husband and father, right? But if I'm not saying that out loud, it could be really unnerving for my wife. So she was able to, I could say, hey, what do you need? This is my counselor helping. What do you need to hear from me? Is there anything you're afraid to tell me? Is there anything you want to talk about that you need the freedom to talk about if you knew I wouldn't get defensive? That's a great question to ask anybody. I think if you're going to make a transition, you need to have really good self-care. Eat good, work out, have time with friends, enjoy some good media. Take some time to transition yourself mentally and spiritually and physically. And it's okay to grieve. When you transition out of a space in your life or a chapter in your life, there comes grief. Sometimes you have to cry. Sometimes you have to deal with anger and sadness. And so be really aware of what's going on in your body, in your mind, and your soul.
Hey folks, thanks for checking out the first episode of Transitions TV. My name is Israel Soler, and I am a photographer and filmmaker based in the San Francisco Bay Area. I really appreciate you watching this. I want to bring stories of encouragement to people who are in the midst of the struggle of switching careers, switching between something maybe they're feeling safe in or have been doing for some time into something new and different and challenging. So I want to bring those to you. Look for future episodes. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Appreciate you watching. See you next time.